I have two examples of what I think are very fine ES335 guitars. This one is a Greco Super Real from, I think, 1980. It's from the 2 years that they made the Super Real project, Greco SA1200. This was the top of the range that they built. It's got the fairly well regarded, or very well regarded actually, dry Z pickups. And yeah, was made by a small team, and the project, as far as I'm aware, was to get as close to an example of a 59 as they could. So I presume what happened was they had one and sort of just built it spec for spec exactly off of that, as I think was the fashion at the time. Now this one here is a Gibson Memphis 335. It's got the faded light burst, which I think is a beautiful finish, and I wanted to compare them because I think they're really great examples. They've both got mahogany sides. This has got slightly lighter looking mahogany. Both got mahogany necks, and both, I think, based on roughly similar guitars. This one has a slightly slimmer neck. This one has got a neck very similar to the Sire Larry Colton, actually. It's like a bit chunkier, a bit more like the 50s style neck, I'd suggest. The main difference, as I'm kind of hearing it, is that this one, the pickups seem much, well, not much, but a bit softer. These are quite, I'd say, present forward. Looking at them, this neck pickup is considerably higher than this neck pickup. The bridge pickup is higher too. So if these were both my guitars, I could maybe consider lowering those and sort of getting like-for-like comparisons. That would be a difference that could maybe be rectified slightly. But I'd imagine that these would have a bit of a softer attack anyway. Being kind of more modern pickups, there must be some element of degaussing that has happened with these over here in time. So you'd imagine there'd be a slightly softer attack. These definitely have more full bass. Whether that's because of the height that we've got them at, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure that's part of the impact though, right? It's got to be. Leave a comment below if you think that's probably a bigger factor than pickups themselves. I think there might be an argument that pickup height is almost as important as pickup type. Probably a debate for someone who actually knows how to do A/B comparisons rather than me. This guitar is actually about £3 lighter, so this one weighs about £8 1 ounce. This weighs about £8 and 4 ounces, but because of that slightly slimmer neck, it tends to, in my experience, feel like you've got a lighter guitar in your hands than the slightly thicker neck. I don't know if that's like a leverage thing or whatever. But as it happens, I think the pickups in this one end up being a little bit more dynamic as well. And again, that might be something to do with the height. But I was thinking that both of those really hold their own very nicely. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about what you prefer. I've got a bit of audio here where it's just the guitars plugged straight in directly. And I think you can hear, you know, there's quite a bit of a difference there. In a mix, overall, I think you could definitely get away with both. But then surprisingly, when I went between these guitars and the Sire, I was actually more impressed again with the Sire, which obviously you know that the Sire guitar is a cheaper guitar, but I was actually really enjoying it for this context as well. The Sire guitar is heavier, but those pickups as well I think are a bit more bright, a bit more modern sounding as well, but not bad sounding. But it made me think again, okay, that Sire, the neck is super similar to this one. But yeah, I can see why people that may have played Gibson ES335s could really like the Sire as well. These are great examples, I think, but the Sire, to me, sort of holds its own. And it made me look again, because I did find one of these on Reverb. And I was thinking, well, that's quite a lot of money, but, you know, they are very nice guitars. I think it looks great. The Greco, you know, if you see one of these, they're not going to be any easier to find than they are right now. I think these are becoming quite well regarded, slightly rare beasts. This one is a great example. We got a fairly light rosewood fingerboard, darker wood on here. I really like the blocks on this. The fret work on both is great. These actually feel smoother to play the frets on this than on the Gibson, I'd suggest, under the fingers. I don't know if Tony's had this one set up, but you know, thanks to Paul and Tony for letting me borrow these. Just a little bit of a comparison there. I think both are really, really great guitars, and both fairly light examples. You can get, I think, considerably heavier than these, but I'd be happy with either guitar, or neither. The F-holes are bigger on this one as well, right? Really great work from Greco at the time, and still, I think, Gibson are putting out some really good stuff. Let me know if you've had good experiences with the Gibson ES335, or let me know if you were lucky enough to try one of these. Hopefully you didn't let it go and regret it. But yeah, I'm also going to do a video, I think, looking at the Sire compared to both of these at some point. But yeah, I don't know which I'd pick, to be honest with you. Maybe the Greco. But yeah, very hard to pick in my opinion. I think slightly more modern style of pickup here, but I think we might be able to lower those and get closer tone-wise. Let me know which you preferred in the comments. Also, we got lovely kind of yellowing of the binding on the Greco, which is really showing its age very nicely. And I think in time the Gibson will as well, because Gibsons do, in my opinion, seem to age quite quickly. Whether you get the yellow, I don't know if this might be sort of smoke related at some stage or not. Who knows? Okay, so I don't know if you're aware or not, but I try not to entertain too much of this kind of sponsored stuff on this channel. Sometimes people do send me gear, and occasionally people offer to pay for stuff, but I'm trying to stay away from that because I feel like the set of incentives are a little bit weird for me as someone who has a Patreon, and also as someone who tries to actually like review gear. I'm trying to remain at a stage where I kind of buy the gear so that at least I have some of my own investment in the stuff, because I think otherwise it's super easy to take for granted that this stuff costs money and stuff. Anyway, Reverb sent me an email or approached me on Bandcamp and asked if I would start an affiliate account. The reason this makes sense for me is because I figured this is a way that if you were already buying something, maybe you could use this, and in theory I get a small kickback from that. I'm not saying go out and buy stuff necessarily anyway, but if you were already doing something, or if you saw a video of mine and you thought, that piece of gear is doing the thing that I want, then consider using this Reverb link, I guess, and it might help feed the dogs or something. The other cool thing, I guess, about Reverb is that you can also sell the gear, and actually the other cool thing about Reverb is that you can buy second-hand gear, which I'm a big advocate. I'm a big advocate of, because this is how I buy my own gear generally. I don't tend to buy much new gear actually, because it means that if I try the thing and don't like it, most of the time I can then move it on for a similar price. So that's also kind of what I like about Reverb. You could sell your gear, you can buy second-hand gear. It's kind of cool in that way. Anyway, so there's a link, which if you use that, I think I get a small amount you know, when purchases are made using that link. So, you know, don't go crazy on it. I just found this one small guitar that I think is a great deal for someone out there if you want to try it. On with the video.